Well, hello and welcome to Binge Watch, the podcast where we take a look at the hottest new TV and film releases on streaming television platforms. I'm Hannah Fernando, the group editor of Woman and Woman and Home magazine.
And I'm Ian McEwan, writer on TV and Satellite Week, TV Times, What's on TV and whattowatch.com. And today we're looking at the new releases that will be available on Friday the 15th of August 2025, including Now TV rockumentary Becoming Led Zeppelin, about the early years of the 1970s rock titans, and Alien franchise TV spin-off Alien Earth on Disney Plus.
And we'll also be checking out slasher rom-com Heart Eyes on Paramount and drug smuggling thriller In Flight, starring Catherine Kelly, who's absolutely brilliant, on ITVX. But first, Ian, what is in the news?
Ben Stiller will direct Apple TV Plus documentary Stiller and Mira, Nothing is Lost, which is about the careers and lives of his late parents, Jerry Stiller and Anne Mira. And Keira Knightley will star in the one-off Netflix drama The Woman in Cabin 10. She'll play a journalist aboard a luxury yacht alongside Guy Pearce as the wealthy owner, Hannah Waddingham, David Morrissey, Art Malik, and one of our favourites, Paul Kaye. Well, good selection for you this week. Quite a lot of fear, I would say.
It's not Halloween. I had to check the dates. It's not Halloween, is it?
I know, it is not Halloween, nor is it Valentine's Day, but we'll come on to that later. We're going to start on Disney Plus with a new sci-fi series called Alien Earth. And here's a clip.
We have a downed spacecraft.
I want what's on that ship.
We can do it. We're fast, we're strong, we don't break.
It's like a zoo, but the animals got out.
This ship collected 5 different life forms from the darkest corners of the universe.
So this launched as a double bill on Wednesday the 13th of August, and it will then drop weekly. I was very concerned, Hannah, when Fargo, one of my favourite films, was turned into a TV series. In fact, a TV franchise. But I needn't have worried, because it was really, really well done. And the same person, Noah Hawley, is doing something similar to the Alien film franchise, which started way back in 1979 with Ridley Scott's Alien. In space, no one can hear you scream. So yeah, I've really been looking forward to this, and I have to say, I wasn't disappointed. So it's set 2 years before the original film, and yes, starts with a crew on a ship similarly waking up from hyperspace, and yes, there will be something nasty on board, but in this case they've actually collected all these specimens from deep space, all these sort of frightening creatures they're bringing back to Earth. However, there's a bit of a mishap, let's say, and the vessel crash lands. But it's not just about the xenomorph that we're so familiar with. Earth is kind of divided up between these huge corporations, and one of them is called the Prodigy Corporation, which, as the name suggests, is run by a very talented youngster called Boy Cavalier, and he's creating these transhuman hybrids. So he's basically, there are all these terminally ill children, and he's going to sort of take their consciousness and put them into these synthetic adult bodies. They rather overplay the Peter Pan theme on this, but never mind that. It's an interesting idea, and there's a lot of stuff about AI and that kind of thing, a lot of questions about identity. And so they're kind of almost like super soldiers because they have like speed and strength, but they still have sort of the minds of children. Anyway, they are sent in to the crash site where the ship is, and obviously there are different people trying to get their hands on what's on board this crashed spaceship, and here's some good stuff. There are some new creepy crawlies that we haven't seen before, and they're just, oh my god, it's just terrifying. Yeah, so Babu Cisse is in this as a cyborg security officer. You've got Timothy Oliphant, and you've also got Adrian Edmondson. Would you believe it? From the young ones. Yes, he's in it as well. So, yeah, I think it's been very well served. Initially, I was thinking, I wish they'd just crack on and get the aliens killing people. But, yeah, it has got this whole new backstory with these. You've got the kind of synthetics, and you've got cyborgs, and you've got hybrids. And one of the hybrids, Wendy, yes, Peter Pan, that's right, played by Sydney Chandler. So the child whose consciousness she has, had a brother, Joe, played by Alex Lawther, and he's a military medic, and she's kind of become obsessed with finding out where he is and what he's doing. So that is all going to play out as well. So yeah, I love the Alien films. I watch them over and over again, and I very much like this. What did you think, Hannah?
Well, those creepy crawlies and nasty things are pretty grim, aren't they? I mean, they really are. I mean, it's not a genre that I love, as you well know, but this is really well done. I often kind of wonder, you know, when Alien was, you know, it seems old now, doesn't it? But it was brilliant. How you can make things more sort of scary, grim, upsetting, but yet this has managed to reach another level. And I don't know. It's different enough to for you to kind of think, actually, they're onto something here. It's not. I don't. It doesn't feel like something that you I don't know, tune out of really, really quickly. I've just seen too much grimness, and it's horrible. It's some like the kind of the fighting scenes that you'll see in other action-packed movies. Kind of really are a switch off for me. I didn't have that at all with this, and the kind of I think the flashbacks and it's cleverly done. I think even if you don't like this genre, there's something quite special about it.
We move across to Channel 4 streaming for a new drama series called In Flight. And here's a clip.
5 days' time, you fly to Istanbul. I'll meet you with 3 kilos of heroin. You're going to bring that back on your flight. If you refuse, we'll kill your son.
You need to hide.
Why?
Do you trust me?
Fight back. So I know.
Don't underestimate me.
If you go to the police, a lawyer, a friend will kill your son.
Yes, so this is a 6-part series, and it's set across the UK, Bulgaria, Thailand, and Turkey. Although I think I'm right in saying that actually it was all filmed in Ireland. I want to say Ireland. It was all filmed in Belfast, on location in Belfast, which is quite bizarre because when you actually watch this, it's hard to believe. It's so cleverly done. And I alluded to this at the beginning of the podcast. This has got Catherine Kelly, and I'm a massive fan of Catherine Kelly. I think she's done incredibly well to not be typecast and to do something a bit different each time she does it. And she plays the part of a single mum and flight attendant called Jo, and she's got a 19-year-old called Sonny, a son called Sonny, and this is really ultimately a story about how far a mother will go for her son. And I think as a mother, I think what would I do? What lengths would I go to try and help? And you know, I think I probably have quite a sense of justice, and she does too. Now he has been jailed for killing a local man in a brawl, and he says it's a murder he didn't commit. You know, he believes he's absolutely innocent, and she completely believes him. But alongside of that, she gets, and then this is the bit that's kind of weird, but it happens, and very quickly you're taken in with it, and her part changes so unbelievably in such a short space of time, from being this sort of sweet mum trying to do everything she can to suddenly being part of a sort of a huge gang, a terrifying gang, and that is because she's approached at a bar by a criminal, Cormac, and he tells her that her son's life is in danger unless she uses her job as an airline steward to smuggle huge quantities of drugs from Bangkok and Istanbul. And what do you do? What do you do as a mother? Do you take it on? Do you tell the police? He says if you tell police, you tell lawyers, you tell anyone, that's it, he's dead. So she is forced to carry this out. But alongside all of that and that drama, and as I say, someone changing from one extreme to the other within 2 episodes, I hasten to add. They also managed to kind of weave in some kind of romance and some, some relationship stuff too. So it doesn't feel kind of just on one level. From what I've seen of this so far, I really, really am enjoying it. And I think that Catherine Kelly, I feel like I'm fangirling, but she's really very, very good. And whether it's credible or not, which is questionable, it didn't matter to me, actually. I just was enjoying what I was seeing. And the fact that, as I say, this was all filmed on location, once you watch this, I think you'll find it quite hard to believe. What did you think, Ian?
I liked it. I do think Catherine Kelly, a bit like Joan Crawford, is very good at suffering, isn't she? And boy, does she suffer in this. People trying to smuggle drugs through customs is always very tense, isn't it? Thinking of Midnight Express, the beginning of that classic movie. And so it is in this. It's a good setup, I think. The fact that if she doesn't agree to smuggle these drugs, her son's going to get stabbed in prison, basically. So she doesn't really have a choice. But it's not just a one-time deal. It's going to keep going and going until, presumably he can get out because his name is cleared. But we don't know if that's going to happen. So good to see Stuart Martin in this as Cormac. So I'm more used to seeing him play sort of nice guys. He was in Jamestown years ago, and he's done quite a few series of Miss Scarlet and the Duke, the period whodunit. He was very good in that. He's left that now, of course. But yeah, he's great in this, and he's not... I mean, obviously he is a baddie, but there's something... Maybe it's because he's just so handsome, but there's something vaguely relatable about him as well, because it's almost as if like this is just business. I have to do what I have to do, you got to do what you got to do, and that's it. This is where we are. Yeah, I think it's well done. It's exciting, and you do have, as you said, you've got this kind of also you've got this romantic storyline because Joe's ex-lover, who is married, he's played by Ashley Thomas from Top Boy. He's called Dom, and he's a customs officer. Yeah. Well, that could be handy, couldn't it? And yeah, in episode 1, it shows the first time that she's going to have to do this smuggling. Also, you see that the son is just having a horrific time in this prison, So you can understand that she'll think, yeah, I'll do anything. I'll do whatever it takes. But yeah, she has to smuggle the stuff through customs, but there's been a tip-off. Because cabin crew don't normally get checked, do they? They just sail straight through while we're all queuing up. But yeah, there's been a tip-off, so what's going to happen? Well, you'll find out. But yeah, another great role for Catherine Kelly, who is reliably good in everything, really, isn't she? And yes, I enjoyed it. Over on Now TV, we've got a new rockumentary called Becoming Led Zeppelin. And here's a clip.
The first time we played together, you could tell it was going to be a good group.
It was an electric atmosphere, and that had been what I'd been waiting for.
Jimmy produced the album.
I wanted it to be something that they hadn't heard before.
The press, who didn't seem to like us.
It got ripped to pieces. People wouldn't even book the band.
The manager of Peter Grant gets a tour together in America.
We're backstage at the Fillmore, and Peter says, if you don't crack it here, it's over.
Fun fact for you, Hannah. Did you know that Led Zeppelin, the name of the heavy rock band from the 1960s and 70s, it's a pun on lead balloon? How did I not know this? How did I not know this? Anyway, this is about the early years of the band in the late 60s, and they came up as kind of hard-working musicians, and Jimmy Page had played with people including the Yardbirds, and he put this band together. A terrific drummer in John Bonham, John Paul Jones on the bass, who was also a session musician like Page. They played on lots of really famous singles and albums. And singer Robert Plant. They couldn't really get arrested in the UK. They went to tour America, where they really broke through, and it was kind of like a make or break tour. Like it was, if it doesn't happen for you in America, that's it. So yeah, good to hear the backstories, not just of their sort of musical journeys, but Robert Plant, incredibly, we originally wanted to become an accountant. Can you believe that? Some great footage, some great music, interviews with the surviving members, and they come across as, I must say, as really nice guys, even though they built this reputation for tremendous excess on tour, didn't they? And in fact, Bonham tragically died after consuming an industrial amount of vodka, and sadly it mentions in this film that his wife said, don't get involved with Robert Plant because it won't end well. So it misses out really their heyday in a way, when most of their most successful albums and biggest singles came out. So it would be good to see that phase of the band covered perhaps in a future film. But yeah, I think it's really well done. And the guy who made it, they weren't very keen on the project, but he made such a good case for it and was clearly so well informed. And he'd also, I think he'd done a documentary series about American roots music, and as soon as they'd been brought up kind of in the blues explosion, and that's what they were involved in their early years, they thought, yeah, this is a guy that we trust to tell our story. So for music fans, it's an absolute no-brainer. I enjoyed it. What did you think, Hannah?
I love them, that. I absolutely love things like this. You learn something that you never knew, and I think probably even hardcore fans, which I'm not, will do as well. And as you say, it sort of stops short of the band's success, doesn't it, really? But this is the first rockumentary that they've authorised, and so therefore you do feel like you get much more. You can tell when something's unauthorised, can't you? And it's just not quite as close to them as you'd like. And this feels, it's authentic and credible, and their journey is just truly interesting. I think they broke America before they broke here, before we realised what we were kind of missing, and it's just that. That wasn't an easy path, don't get me wrong, but it's a completely different path to how music stars make it these days. And I was talking about it with someone this morning. I wonder if we'll ever go back to how it was before for bands to be able to make it in a kind of an old-fashioned way. And we talk about it in magazines, don't we, in print. Is it in decline? Actually, no, I think it will come back. It'll go full circle. It's just an interesting phenomenon, because actually when you see this, they've really gone through it. They've really gone through the process, and you see some sort of new reality shows. I'm not saying all musicians make it through reality shows, of course they don't. It is other ways, certainly not the way that Led Zeppelin did, but it's just a completely different path. So I found it very thoroughly interesting.
We're going to finish over on Paramount Plus with a new feature film called Heart Eyes, and here's a clip.
For the past 2 years, a masked maniac known as the Hard Eyes Killer has stalked,
hunted,
and brutally slain couples on Valentine's Day.
With no motive yet uncovered.
This is more than just murder. He's like Cupid with a kink.
Yes. Where do I start? Where do I start with this? This is when I said earlier, is it like, is it Halloween, or is it kind of, because actually this is all about Valentine's Day, so I suppose it could also be on Valentine's Day, but it's a kind of random time to be releasing something like this, perhaps. But essentially, Heart Eyes is a horrible creature, a murdering creature who has eyes like hearts, and I say it likes to kill couples on Valentine's Day. That really is the sort of the crux of this, in all honesty. Heart Eyes, will strike anywhere. You know, he's indiscriminate. He'll strike absolutely. I keep saying he. That's wrong. It will just hit wherever. And in this instance, it takes on a couple that are slightly will fight back and actually injure Heart Eyes. But the person who injures Heart Eyes is actually the person who then gets done and accused of all the murders, or some of the murders, because there are fingerprints there. They were clearly at the scene, and there's a relationship twist here where, you know, Ali McCabe, who's kind of the main character in this, you know, she meets a guy, Jay, but then they sort of fall out on their date, and then she ends up kissing him because she sees her boyfriend coming the other way with a new girlfriend, and they turn out they do really like each other, and then Heart Eyes attacks them. I feel like the whole love thing's a bit of an undercurrent here. It's just a bit. I didn't find that fascinating or that interesting. This is just exactly what you'd expect. It makes you jump. It makes you, you know, you kind of think, oh, you know, it comes from nowhere, and at times is really quite gory. So perhaps it will be no surprise that the producer is also the producer of Scream. Well, of course, the Scream series went on to be quite laughable, didn't they? And I think probably this could end up like that. What do you think, Ian?
Yeah, it's very much the same kind of tone as Scream, isn't it? In that it's almost kind of subverting the slasher genre with humour. It is very gory, I must say. And Mason Gooding, Cuba Gooding Jr.'s son, who plays the handsome Jay, has been in 2 of the Scream films. I liked Olivia Holt, who plays Ali, and I did like... So basically, she thinks she's going to be fired from her job. She splits up with her boyfriend, and then Jay turns up at work to kind of like save the campaign, the advertising campaign. But there's a meet cute. They meet in a coffee shop. Then, oh, that's that guy I met in the coffee shop is now my new colleague. And so I kind of think it could have been quite just a nice rom-com, really, the sort of thing Jennifer Aniston might have been in. But no, it's also a slasher movie. I mean, it is quite funny in parts, but I ended up kind of fast-forwarding quite a lot of it because it's just a lot of kind of jump scares and waiting for Heart Eyes to appear out of the darkness and disappear, and, you know, with his big machete. Although Ali is, you know, quite a tough nut, I'm not sure, do we really want more films where men in masks, well, it may not be a man, spoiler alert, are chasing young women? I'm not sure. I don't know. It's quite a good setup, but I did lose interest towards the end. I'll say that. But yeah, I mean, I don't think you can set the bar too high for this kind of film because it's looking to deliver laughs and shocks, and it does. So, you know, if you're into kind of things like Scream, I think you'll enjoy it. Now, we got to that time, Hannah, where we find out what the hell you've been binge watching.
Well, you can tell it's the summer holidays for me. We watched Barbie, which we've not watched since it came out in the cinema. It was just as good that time round, to be honest with you. So funny. I love it. Lots of people are like, oh, God, it's just rubbish. No good. I absolutely love it. It's brilliant.
Well, I watched something altogether more manly. Yes, another sports documentary series on Netflix. This one's called SEC Football. And it's all about the college American football scene in America, which is huge. I mean, they draw crowds at college games that are way bigger than any Premier League association football games over here. So yeah, I very much enjoyed that. Now, we've just got time to look ahead to next week's offerings. So what's on the agenda, Brenda?
Well, very sadly, you'll remember that Matthew Perry passed away, and we've got a new ITV documentary coming out which recounts the life and the tragic death of Matthew Perry, who was amazing in Friends and known from Friends. And of course, one of his best friends, Jennifer Aniston, has just done the cover of Vanity Fair, hasn't she, too?
Okay. And Saran Jones will play the British Prime Minister in a new Netflix thriller called Hostage. So we look forward to those and much, much more. But in the meantime, dear listeners,
Keep watching.